Hey guys, what is up? Hey Daniel. Hey guys, I am so excited that you are here with me today because we are talking all the science on one of my favorite brands. And I am so excited you guys want to join me and learn a little bit more about Neogenesis because the science is so insane. And we're actually getting to talk to the lead scientist behind Neogenesis today, Dr. Greg Maguire. And he's a genius, you guys. So I'm so excited that he's here. I just need to get there we go. I need to get the right request here. I'm guessing this is it. I'm technically challenged, so let's see if this works. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Hi, guys. Hold on. Stay tuned. Here we go. Hi.
Brianna, hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, Dr. Greg. How are you?
Very well. It's nice to join you
Yes,
today.
I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Likewise, I've just heard so many great things about you and you're educating, clinicians and consumers and really trying to find out the information that's out there, which is
Yeah.
really difficult. So much out there to be
Yes.
aware of.
Yes, for sure. And I always tell people the science behind, the Neogenesis products and just how these work and why they're so effective is so unique and so different. So I'm so excited that you were here to join us and give us the overview of the science behind your amazing products. So just to introduce you a little bit, you are the lead scientist behind Neogenesis.
Yes, I am. Yes, I co-founded the company. I've been working on this sort of technology since my days as a university professor at the University of California. It was actually during those days I happened upon this technology by accident. It was one of those aha moments when I was using fibroblasts from the skin to regenerate brain tissue. And I found out that the fibroblasts were working better than my genetically modified fibroblasts. Just the normal fibroblasts were working great. And then I realized these cells are from the skin and they probably serve to maintain and heal skin. So then I tried it as a brain scientist, I tried it in the skin and it really worked well. So then I started really learning about the skin. And this was back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I age myself here, but yes, I've been doing this a while.
I know I feel like that's how a lot of the science and skincare comes to be is you're working on some type of regenerative medicine and some other
Yeah.
field and then really see what it does for the skin.
Yeah, many of us have come to it that way. There are some other scientists, both here in San Diego, who actually, while I was working in the brain, they were working in the skin with artificial skin constructs. And I knew the lady who was the chief scientist. And so actually I started seeing what she was doing and learning about not only the growth factors, the other factors. And I said, that's part of what's happening in my technology.
Right.
And then there were some friends up in the Bay Area at the universities doing some other things in skin and other parts of the body with different organs. And we learn from one another.
Yeah.
It's been a real journey, and I continue to work in the brain, and we published some things last year, but most of my focus now is in the skin. It's a beautiful organ. It's so vital to
Right.
health.
Right.
What happens in the skin translates to the whole body. So it really became something that just intrigued me and engulfed most of my thoughts. So
Love
it's,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. So let's talk a little bit about Neogenesis because you guys are a stem cell exosome, technology brand. So I really want to talk about, what makes Neogenesis and the technology and the science so, unique and amazing behind all your products.
Yeah, it's the fact that we use multiple stem cell types from the skin. So it's a combination of mesenchymal stem cells from the skin, as well as a couple of different types of fibroblast in the skin. And understanding that the skin is complicated, involves multiple cells to maintain and heal itself. And then from each of those cell types, literally are hundreds of different types of molecules that are released from each of these cell types to maintain and heal skin. And the two or more cell types work together in the skin. They're both liberating different sets of molecules. There's some overlap, but they're different sets of molecules. And so this is something that happened upon me during my days at Berkeley, is learning about systems therapeutics, that the whatever tissue I'm looking at involves multiple molecules to maintain and heal itself, whereas in traditional drug development, they try to find one molecule, just one molecule to hit one target to heal or maintain the tissue. And every condition, every disease, the skin or elsewhere, involves many different pathways, and many different types of molecules must be used to modulate those different pathways. And so that's our basic technology, is using many different molecule types from the skin-derived cells, and therefore you're using identical molecules from the skin, and you're using it to affect multiple pathways, and you're using the molecules that are naturally present in the skin when it's young and healthy. So you're using multiple molecules. It's what I call a systems therapeutic. So a therapeutic that acts at the system, the many pathways,
right,
for physiological renormalization. You're renormalizing the physiology, because the physiology is out of whack, whether it's aged skin, diseased skin. The physiology has changed, the protein content has changed, and so we simply add back in all of those hundreds of normal proteins that have gone awry in the disease or the condition, whether it's wounding or other afflictions.
Right, which is super interesting because, right, as we age, we start to lose all of that. So you guys kind of taking that science and we get to apply it to our skin to reintroduce all that.
Exactly. We lose, or we physically lose some of the cells, and some of the molecules will come down greatly. Some of the cells will disappear. Some of the other cells will go into a state, what we call senescence. It's basically going to sleep. And when the cells go to sleep, they start excreting, most of them, not all of them, most of them start excreting pro-inflammatory molecules.
Right.
So you're in a constant state, chronic inflammation.
Right.
And so the molecules from the cells we use bring those senescent cells back to essentially an unsleepy state, an active anti-inflammatory state.
Right.
So,
which I was going to say, the Neogenesis products I have found, because I have rosacea prone skin, so I'm prone to inflammatory issues. And when I started using Neogenesis, I noticed so much decrease in just inflammation in my skin. It was amazing.
That's one of the keys to our technology, is that many of the molecules in the mix are immune modulators. And what they do is they turn both, we call it the adaptive and the innate immune system. So the innate immune system is where the system is turned on and attacks immediately. The adaptive immune system learns, and over time it figures out what's going on. It's turned on thinking there's a pathogen invading us. And a lot of times those systems are turned on just by chronic decrease in cellular function, cellular debris. It's called sterile inflammation. There's no pathogen, but the debris from the dying or injured cells is causing the immune system to become active. and the innate and the adaptive immune system go into attacking our own cells, causing inflammation. Well, our molecules change that. They turn the innate and adaptive immune systems into anti-inflammatory pro-repair. And it goes, there may be some real nerds out there listening to us. So the T cells in the adaptive immune system bias towards Tregs, which reduce inflammation, and also the macrophages. Well, I know a lot of people know about macrophages. The macrophages are induced to go from M1 to M2. That's from pro-inflammatory to anti-inflammatory pro-repair. And the immune modulating molecules in the S2RM, our technology, do that for us. And most of us have, particularly as we age or we have sun damage and so forth, we have damaged tissue, we have debris, and we have an immune system that's turned on, even though there's no infection, it's sterile inflammation. And we've got to turn it down because you get into a vicious cycle. You get the inflammation from the debris, the inflammation then hurts the cells and you get more debris, and it just is a positive feedback loop, and we tame that down.
Right.
That's part of what you're seeing, I think, Brianna, is when you see this with your rosacea.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know, inflammation in the skin causes premature aging. You always want to be looking to knock out inflammation. We all have it. We all have some type of like low, grade inflammation going on in our skin.
Yeah. And you'll have a small amount of inflammation, and at times the inflammation is very positive. But if you have this turned on chronic inflammatory state where you're damaging your own tissue, then you've got problems. And that chronic inflammation in the skin, even if it's localized just to the epidermis, then induces inflammation in the whole body. So when you, scientists at University of California, San Francisco, it's where I learned it years ago, is when they just did like tape stripping of the outer layer of the epidermis and they saw inflammation in the skin. Then eventually they looked in the blood supply and they saw the inflammation in the blood. So it went systemic, the inflammation did. Then when they repaired the epidermis and got rid of the inflammation in the skin, then they saw the inflammation in the blood go down.
Yeah.
So I really reinforce this to people because taking good care of your skin is important for your whole body, particularly aging. And aging and all the diseases that we may have a prevalence for as we age involve chronic inflammation. So you really got to take care of that skin.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating to me. Yeah. So let's talk about, because not only, actually I want to talk about like the stem cell technology that you guys use. Because there's a lot of different companies that have stem cells or exosomes, but I really want to focus on kind of what technology you guys use, and kind of what makes them unique. Neogenesis is very unique in the way you guys do things as well, which I love. So I really want to kind of talk about the behind the scenes science of Neogenesis. Cell technology here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity because it is unique. And first of all, we do everything ourselves. So we create our own active molecules. There's some companies out there that use contract manufacturers both for making their stem cell molecules, and you really don't know what they're doing for you with contract manufacturers. So we do it in-house. We do it very carefully. It's not only myself working on it, but we have a lady, Linda, who manages the lab. She's a great scientist. She's been doing this sort of work for over 20 years, cell culture work. And so we really have people hands-on day by day that know what they're doing. And that's really critical to mission.
For sure. And I think that's one of the reasons I see such effective results with your products too.
Yeah, and the key is to know the cells you have. So to be careful with the cells, and then as we culture and stimulate the cells in our own laboratory, we follow them very closely. And we're using a unique combination, a patented combination of different types of stem cells. It'll be 3 or more stem cells. We have actually for hair, then for hair growth, there's the skin stem cells, but also stem cells are used from the hair follicle. So
Right.
there's even more stem cells involved in that. And then when I work in the brain, I use some stem cells in addition that are from the brain.
Right.
But the key is to use tissue-specific stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to use stem cells from the skin. You want to use multiple stem cells from the skin that work synergistically together. And then you want to carefully stimulate, culture the stem cells in the appropriate conditions so that they're healthy
Mm-hmm.
and they're liberating the correct set of molecules. And we don't extract molecules. So some companies extract molecules from the stem cells. No, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Because proteins exist in different states, but you can think of some of the proteins existing in a three-dimensional state. And if they don't have their proper three-dimensional structure, they don't work. They can actually be dangerous. If you extract the molecules, then a lot of the proteins won't have fully formed. What we do is wait for the molecules to be released,
From the stem
not
cell.
extract. It's like we don't chemically or physically hurt the stem cells.
Right. You just wait for it to be released from the stem cell. Okay.
Exactly, Brianna. It takes more time and it takes more money to do it that way. But then you get the complete set of molecules formed correctly so that they're functional. Some of these proteins from the other companies, they're not functional. They can actually be harmful. They can be prion-like and cause damage. So
Right.
we're very careful about that. And then if you wait for the stem cells to release the molecules, probably most of the molecules are packaged into the exosome. But we use the molecules packaged in the exosome as well as the molecules, what we call in the soluble fraction. So some of the molecules are floating around.
Yeah.
And those are lipids and proteins that are floating around. But there's also a lot of proteins and lipids in the exosome. We use them both together because that's the way Mother Nature does it in our skin and other parts of the body. And scientists have found if you use the exosomal fraction as well as the soluble fraction together, it works a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking away, if you only use the exosomes, you're taking away part of Mother Nature gave you, that soluble fraction.
Mm-hmm.
And so the exosomes are beautiful because some of the molecules really need to be protected. Some of the molecules are a little bit bigger and they're what we call globular. They're in those big three-dimensional structures. They're inside the exosome. And the exosome protects them, but also gives them an ability to penetrate through the epidermis and then target deeper layers of the skin. And that's been shown not by me or our group, but by other scientists that have looked at that very carefully. They have the equipment and the money to do that.
Right.
And so that's an active area of research. The other thing is some of the companies will do what we call lyophilize. It's a fancy word for freeze dry. They'll freeze dry the exosomes.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, they not only damage part of what's inside the exosome, but they really denude the outside of the exosome.
Right.
And denuding the outside, damaging the outside of the exosome takes away a lot of functional aspects of the exosome. So it will no longer penetrate well, and actually some of the active components are on the outside of the exosome. So you don't want to lyophilize. It really hurts the exosome.
Right. And exosomes are so hard to work with, right? Like they're so easily damaged. You have to be very, very careful with how you do things with them, correct?
You do have to be careful. They're liable in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
They're easily damaged in some ways. But remember, the exosomes have developed to work within the human body.
Mm-hmm.
So they're working at various temperatures in the body. They're working at temperatures in the body, certainly up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Exosomes are found in the gut, intact. And so in portions of the gut where the pH is 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So and I have a big, it's a peer-reviewed book chapter published by Elsevier in Europe. So it was scientifically reviewed. It's like a 30-page review chapter on exosomes that was published, oh gosh, back in 2016. And I go into a lot of that. So if there's anyone really wanting to know more about exosomes, I think we gave you that chapter, but anyone else wanting to know about the exosomes, I'm happy to send them that chapter. But the point is, the exosome has really evolved to be very hardy under a lot of conditions. However, as you're saying, Brianna, when we're formulating products, we have to be careful not to spin the mix too hard. You have to be careful with the paddle when the exosomes are present because you can break them up.
Right.
And if you break them up, a lot of times they won't come back together. I have a scientist friend in Stockholm who actually has a company. He works part-time in San Diego here, but he actually has a technique where he breaks the exosomes, pulls out the contents in the center, puts them back together, and then he can load the exosome with other drugs. And so you can do that thing, but the key for us is to keep all of this intact, including all the molecules in the center, because those are the molecules that have evolved to work in the skin.
Yeah.
We don't want to break it apart. We don't want to extract anything out of the exosome. We want it fully intact.
Right.
So that it can maintain and heal the skin tissue.
Right. So here's my question, because I've gotten this question from a lot of people. There's no actual stem cells in Neogenesis. It's everything that it has, extracted out, like everything that comes out of the stem cell, like the molecules of proteins, exosomes, all of that stuff.
Yeah, the exosomes and the other molecules in the soluble fraction are the key. And so, yes, you're exactly right.
Right.
There's no actual stem cell material other than
there's DNA. There's no DNA in your products.
No,
right.
with the exosomes. Now these are called extracellular vesicles of a sort that are called exosomes because they're very small. So the exosomes we're using are like roughly 50, maybe up to 80 nanometers in diameter.
Right.
And it's been found in these exosomes, there's no DNA.
Right.
So some of there's vesicles that are released that are much larger, which can contain DNA, right? So we don't use those. We're using the exosomes from these cells, and there's no DNA. It's mostly protein and lipid. There's lipids in the mix, something, for example, called palmitoyl ethanolamide, and it's a type of cannabinoid that's endogenous to us. One of the things I did when I was professor at University of California, San Diego, was discovered the endogenous endocannabinoid system in the eye and in the retina. It was a big part of my research, stem cells and cannabinoids. And it was not lost upon me. I was very excited when we realized there are cannabinoids, endogenous cannabinoids in the mix. This PEA, or palmitoyl ethanolamide, actually inhibits, like ibuprofen or one of those drugs like that. This reduces COX-2, which causes inflammation and pain. It's one of the reasons why when you put this on after a procedure, the S-RM,
right,
you get an immediate reduction of pain and inflammation.
100%. You can notice it right away. Yeah.
You have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've taken the Neogenesis Recovery, which is your highest potency,
Yes.
just after like a laser procedure or something, and it literally in 5 minutes takes down redness. It heals your skin so much quicker. It's amazing.
It is, and it's doing it just the way Mother Nature does it. It's not doing it with some drug that has side effects.
Yeah.
We're putting in the balanced set of molecules back into the skin. And, a lot of times, us older people or people with various afflictions, when we have a procedure or a wound, it hurts us more than the younger person that doesn't heal. We have more pain.
Right.
It's because, as you were saying earlier, some of the stem cells are dysfunctional or absent in number, and the molecules aren't working as well. We're putting all that back into the skin.
Right.
So you can be like a younger person to heal more quickly, reduce that pain.
Right, exactly. And the other thing that I find so interesting is you can apply the Neogenesis. I always tell people for like new scars, Neogenesis recovery is better than any scar cream out there. This completely
Yeah.
heals scars so that they're very invisible. That's amazing because it's showing like
Yeah.
what that's doing for, wound healing. And if it's healing wounds, what it's doing internally to your skin is amazing.
This material is antifibrotic, and there are other companies that use different sets of stem cells. Some of the companies will use stem cells derived from bone marrow, the bone marrow mesenchymal stem cells, and those are the wrong stem cells to use. Those are pro-fibrotic, whereas if you use the endogenous skin stem cells, it's anti-fibrotic. These are the molecules that allow the skin to rebuild its natural matrix without fibrosis. Whereas if you use the bone marrow stem cells come into a bloody wound and they induce, with a bloody open wound, you need to close the wound, you need to stop the bleeding and fight infection. So you get a very pro-inflammatory response from those molecules. You get closure of the wound real quick and you get fibrosis. It's not what you want.
Right.
So this is, you could think of it as a slower natural process endemic to the skin. The way the skin heals itself is usually without fibrosis unless you have a big open wound.
Yeah.
And then you've got platelets and bone marrow stem cells coming in to induce fibrosis.
Right.
But they close the wound quickly, they fight infection. So they're good for certain things. But for the things that we're doing in the skin and for long-term use, those are not the appropriate cells to use or their molecules.
Right. That's so interesting. Yeah.
It's complex. It's fascinating.
This stuff fascinates me so much.
I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is though. It's so, the science behind it is just so amazing, and the technology for skincare nowadays with exosomes and all the stem cell technology is just so cool. And I think it's so amazing that a lot of people are really interested in this now and they want to know the science behind it. I love that.
It's so good that we have the availability to teach people like we are here today, and you really thank you for your mission to do that and the opportunity to have this chance with you, because it's my life's work, and I've been doing this since undergraduate school days, and I spend a good portion, 7 days a week, trying to understand the skin, the stem cells, the molecules. How do we do better skincare? It's my life's mission, and it's what makes me happy. And as a professor, I'm a teacher, so an opportunity to try to communicate this to the wider audience is really a great opportunity, because there's so much to learn. I mean, every day I learn something new, lots of things every day. It's hard to keep up with it all. So what I learned, I try to incorporate into the Neogenesis technology. And Steve and I and team, we can't incorporate everything I'm learning all at once, but we have a plan. As I learn things are significant, we'll bring new technologies, new products into the market over time, and or modify existing products to make them better. So that's,
which I think is amazing, because most companies just, they can have amazing technology 10 years ago, but they don't update anything as time goes on. You guys have amazing technology that is now and here, but you're still learning and you're still, going to advance as new technology comes along. I think that is so amazing. That's such a great, factor to add into a skincare brand, because a lot of people don't do that.
No, and it's a real philosophy that both Steve and I embrace. Me as the science guy, Steve as the guy that runs the overall company. It's that we don't want to bring in big investors and VC and people that will tell us, look, you got to cut your cost and make more profit. And therefore, I'm going to have to make an inferior product that doesn't work as well, but will tell a glossy story.
Right.
So Steve and I have kept control of the company so that, we can not only develop our own technology, make our own formulations, make the products in-house, but also importantly, it's telling the right story in the marketing, not fooling people. It's like, here's the products that work for a certain condition. Gosh, we don't know if they're going to work for that condition. We'll give you the products for free to try to see if they work, so that we can learn something.
Right.
but we're not going to sell you something that we know doesn't work for you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, so we're in this for the long term, and without investors, and try to do the best we can.
You guys are the thing that I love about your company and your brand is that Neogenesis is for really truly helping people. I know you are so passionate about what you do, and you only put out the best of the best products. And you're not marketing some crazy, like you said, in some crazy style just to sell products. Like, you are in this to really help people, which I love.
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
learn. We want to learn where the products work well, where they don't work well. With any product with a given array of ingredients, people's health, their skin condition, their whole body condition is based on their life history.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as we understand it, even the history of their parents, called epigenetic inheritance, where what their parents did in life can influence their health status.
Oh, wow.
And then what we've done throughout life, from in the womb and on, can influence the state of our skin health.
Mm-hmm.
And so every person, based on their life history and all their environmental interactions, called the exposome, can be different.
Mm-hmm.
And just some of the people, will take a given product that works on 99.9% of the people, but there's that small percentage of people where the product may not work well, could induce a reaction.
Right.
And if we understand that, then we don't want to sell that to people just to get money and
Right.
them out.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Because it'll happen. There's a wide array of ingredients, and that's why we always suggest to people, you're trying a new product, whether it's a product that's been on the market for 20 years or a brand new product. If you're trying it for the first time, do your little patch test.
Yeah. See if you
So, yeah, even the very careful physicians that do injectables, they'll do a little injectable test on someone's hand or arm before they go through the full face to make sure that particular person doesn't have a reaction.
Right.
So, it's really, it's complicated. We're trying to figure out the complications and deliver the best products to the market.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, your products are amazing.
Thank you.
Question that I always get, which I already know the answer, but I want you to share it with everyone. People always want to know, is Neogenesis oncology safe?
Yeah, they really are, because these are the molecules native to the skin that you're putting back in the skin. And we're using a technology, really, that, if you look at the history of it, starts back in 1875 in Europe, where physicians started doing fat grafting and full skin flap, taking skin from one area, putting it to another, taking fat out of the skin in one region, putting it into another. And then physicians started, with the help of scientists, isolating stem cells from fat, the fat layer underneath the skin, the hypodermis, and using those. And then scientists found out, using these in oncology patients, and then scientists took stem cells, those stem cells that we use from oncology patients, and tested those to make sure they were oncology safe, and they are. So my point being, there's a very long 100 years plus history of using this technology and related technologies to make sure that they are safe for everyone, including oncology patients. And they've been found, the molecules that we have, I don't want to say that this is an anti-cancer mix of molecules, but the molecules have been found to have anti-cancer properties.
So interesting. Yeah.
Including for melanoma, because one of the molecules that comes from the fibroblasts that we use is a molecule, it's a protein, called HAPLN1. And a scientist up at Johns Hopkins, she's been doing a lot of work on this, and she finds that as we age, we lose this HAPLN1, and then it sets us up for melanoma. But in her models, if she reintroduces HAPLN1 from the fibroblast, then she can tend to reverse the melanoma and reverse the metastasis, the spread of the melanoma. So there's a lot of work suggesting it's anti-cancer. We can't say that. We won't say that.
Right.
And, we don't want to use this on an active cancer because it's untested.
Right.
But yeah, it's oncology.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. And then also, I would love just to take a couple more of your minutes here. And if you could just kind of go over some of your products. Like, I've had a lot of questions in regards to the difference between recovery and booster. So people
Okay.
are very confused about booster. So I would love to kind of have your take on that.
Okay.
Because that's
It's
an amazing product.
yeah, the recovery is, as you said, that high concentration of the
That's your
esquarteram. The
high
mole-
concentration.
yeah, it is. It's very powerful. It was intended to really work with damaged, wounded skin,
Mm-hmm.
and it does fabulous job there
You
to heal.
complete skin rejuvenation with that. 100%. You really do.
Yeah, what I sometimes recommend to people, well, the recovery is a bit of a more expensive product. This is a biotech process we go through. We don't have huge margins on these products. It's expensive to make.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very careful biotech process, and it's expensive to make it. But in that high concentration and the recovery, we have to charge.
Mm-hmm.
But it really works well. And sometimes what people can do is start with the recovery with a high concentration of that skin into an anti-inflammatory state to start repairing the skin. And then over time, maybe they can go to the skin serum and use that on a daily basis that has a lower concentration of the
But will help
molecules
maintain your results.
to maintain the results. Exactly. And
Right.
you can do that with a less expensive product.
Right.
Um, the booster came in because we really wanted, in addition to the recovery, to introduce something that would help to hydrate and plump the skin naturally
Mm-hmm.
with natural molecules. So what the booster has is a wide array of, in addition to the esquarteram, like the recovery, it's a little bit less concentration than the recovery, but in addition to that recovery-like material, it also has a wide array of amino acids. And the amino acids they give you additional antioxidant effect. They help to hydrate the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're getting a hydration and an antioxidant effect out of the additional amino acids.
Okay.
And you'll see different like rice, hydrolyzed rice protein and baobab and things like that to give you all the different amino acids. And then also we used a really nice molecule that came to us from scientists in the beautiful north of Italy. We use a conjugated hyaluronic acid with butyrate, both of which are very important to the skin. Everyone knows hyaluronic acid, really important to the matrix, going to help to hydrate the skin. But then also it's conjugated to butyrate, and butyrate is a beautiful anti-inflammatory molecule.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helps augment what the esquarteram does to induce the immune system, as I was talking about, to go from inflammatory to anti-inflammatory, pro-repair.
Okay.
So the booster was a means to give you a little bit more moisturization, plumping, and a little bit extra too, if you needed to kind of calm the immune system.
Okay. Interesting. So you can actually use that with recovery or
You can.
as well. Okay.
Yeah, they won't interfere at all with one another.
Okay.
Some people will apply recovery at one part of the day and then say in the morning and then at night use the booster.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the intent. But as we go through this and all these clever people we work with out there, they develop different regimens, and it's always interesting to hear what they're finding out.
Yeah.
To better make a regimen for people with different conditions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you would say Neogenesis, I mean, anyone can use your line. It's good for every skin type, every person. Because I personally, like I said, I have very sensitive skin,
Yeah.
facial prone skin, acne prone skin. I mean, you name it. My skin's just lovely. But your products work so well for my skin. I have no irritation, no reaction, and it made my skin so much better. Like I said, I've seen a complete rejuvenation, inflammation down so much, no redness. My skin is so even toned. So I'm like, these are good for really everybody. And especially, I think if you do have like an inflammatory condition such as
Yeah,
rosacea or acne, it's going to really, really help you.
it does. I'm, slightly atopic dermatitis, and these can really help to calm down that. It's, that itching. It's not severe for me,
Yeah.
but they're very helpful. The products have been very helpful to many, many people with different conditions. And so we're very proud about that. I always remind people, though, when you're trying any of our products for the first time, do a
A little
patch test to
test.
be sure. Yeah. And you may find some of the products really work well for you. Some of the products are not as good for your
Mm-hmm.
condition. But yeah, most of the products are designed, all the products are designed to work with all skin types.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the barrier renewal cream in combination with the recovery, for example,
Yeah.
yeah, it really adds in the different basic three types of lipids you need to start rebuilding that stratum corneum and getting the barrier restored in a lot of these conditions. Those of us with atopic dermatitis, eczema, rosacea, and so forth usually have reduced barrier function.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the combination could be very helpful because the recovery helps with the keratinocytes, regulating them. But then also using like the barrier renewal cream also helps the keratinocytes be able to have the three lipid types to build the.
It really creates a healthy skin barrier. That's one of my favorite
Mhm.
products for creating, and keeping a healthy skin barrier. Because that's something I talk about too on my, social media all the time, is how important a healthy skin barrier is. And I
Yeah,
think so many people take it for granted and they use such harsh products and
yeah,
toxic stuff on their skin. And you can't do that. If you don't have a healthy skin barrier, your skin's not going to look healthy. So using a product, like the barrier repair cream, on a constant basis just assures you that you're going to always be, really using something that's creating a healthy skin barrier. So I think that is so important.
it really is. It's like the Esquerder material is working mostly down the dermis, the hypodermis, a little bit with the keratinocyte layer. And then if you add in something like the barrier renewal cream, you're really working at the keratinocyte level and outward. Um, and so the combination could be really good. And that's the way we intended to work those two together. So we've got more products coming out for those that sometimes people get into, a moderate or a severe uh, state of eczema. And even when the lipids are coming in, they're having a hard time rebuilding the stratum corneum and the barrier function.
Right.
And we'll have a product coming out for that where you put in the recovery, then you put the barrier renewal cream in, and then you'll put a product on top of that, which will give you instantaneous barrier without petrolatum. And
Uh-huh.
also put onto your skin the part of the microbiota that's missing in those skin conditions,
Mm-hmm.
which are critical to restoring barrier function. So we're constantly testing new products. We have a product that puts instantaneous barrier function on top of the barrier renewal cream, and then gives you those live bacteria. It's an anhydrous
Uh,
product.
okay. Yeah.
It gives you those live bacteria that are missing from the atopic condition
Oh,
or the
that's going to
eczema.
be so good. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. I've been testing it for the last 6 months, and it really works well. Everything we do, there's a lot of things that don't go to market. I've tested them. I don't like them for one reason or another, but
Mm-hmm.
that product I've been testing for about 6 months, and it's
It's good.
working really well.
Good to go soon then. Good. Bring us new products. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll keep going as we learn, but particularly as many other scientists, clinicians are learning things. I'm constantly reading the literature every day, 7 days a week. I love doing this to learn new things, and we'll be incorporating these new things into our
Yeah.
technology.
And I just have to say, thank you again for your time and sharing the behind the scenes details and the science behind Neogenesis, because it's so good. It's not like this big brand that just throws stuff together. Like, you really take your time and give us the best of the best. And it shows in your products. Like I said, honestly, I love your brand so much. It has done wonders for my skin. I recommend it to people all the time who want to see true results and true rejuvenation in their skin. It's amazing. So thank you so much for your time. And if you have anything else you kind of want to talk about or share, let me know.
Yeah, I would just say that, if you have an inflammatory state, it really inhibits there's pumps in the blood supply. So when you eat a healthy diet, a lot of the nutrients, the antioxidants, the vitamin C's, the carotenoids, when you eat those, they're going into the blood supply and they're pumped from the blood into the skin. But if you have an inflammatory state, a lot of those pumps stop working and you can't get the vitamin C, the antioxidants, the other nutrients, the fatty acids into your skin. So you really need to reduce that inflammation so those pumps are working. You need to be eating right, lots of fruits and vegetables to feed the skin from the inside out.
Exactly.
But as scientists, we learn you can feed the skin from the outside in if you do it right, if you formulate right. So we're trying to bring some of those molecules where you're in the inflammatory state, some of those antioxidants can't get pumped from the blood into the skin. Well, we've learned you can feed the skin from the outside in and feed them to through a topical application. So, it's
actually knock out inflammation in the body by knocking out inflammation in the skin. That's so
you can reduce it. Yeah, you can help to reduce it.
Right. Yeah. That is so fascinating.
Yeah, it's beautiful work that was done mainly up at University of California, San Francisco. They've done a series of papers on that. They're just beautiful papers.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
Beautiful science.
Yeah. Yep. Well, if you have anything else you want to share, any other things that we missed that you want to talk about?
I probably droned on for so long, but
no, we love it. We're all like skin science nerds here, so we love it.
Yeah, no, I would just say, we're the neogenesis philosophy is to put back in the skin what was normally there when it was young and healthy. That includes, of course, the stem cell release molecules, but there's a lot of other things besides the stem cell release molecules that need to be in skin for it to be healthy and to maintain and heal itself. That includes the antioxidants.
Right.
That includes the carotenoids. So we have, and we're further developing products that bring all of those molecules back into the skin. It includes, as I was talking about with the barrier renewal cream, you've got to get those lipids into the skin so the keratinocytes can make that barrier. And there's other things you need to bring in. The hyaluronic acid is important, and a lot of times that matrix is degraded. So the philosophy is to bring back to the skin all those things that are normally there. So much of what we use is just skin identical ingredients, including the stem cell release molecules. These are stem cells that produce molecules that are normally in the skin. We're not taking...
So your skin accepts them in. That's the thing, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a stem cell from the bone marrow or a stem cell from the discarded cord from a baby. These are stem cells from the skin making the molecules that are normally there, that are accepted by the skin.
That's what's so amazing, because then your skin easily accepts them in and recognizes that.
It knows how to handle them.
Yeah, exactly.
It affects them.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny. So let me ask you a question real quick, because I hear people ask too. Because I always say, your skin has to recognize something and to be able to draw it in and use it. So what is your take on plant stem cells? What is your take on this? Because I would love to hear the scientific kind of overview of this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when people say they're using plant stem cells, they're really not. They're using like a kind of like a growth cone, but some of the companies do use a plant-based stem cell. And humans evolved to eat plants, lots of plants, and That's when we were evolving from the smaller mammals, and we evolved to eat plants. And if you look at the great gorillas, those beautiful, big, muscular gorillas, they eat strictly plants, right? So we evolved to eat plants, and plants are very important to attaining a lot of the molecules we need for our body, including the skin. So there's nothing bad about plant stem cells. It's just that they're good to eat the whole plant.
Mm-hmm.
They provide some of the molecules we need, but they're not the equivalent to a skin-derived stem cell in providing all these different molecules that you need. So
Right.
the plant-derived stem cells will have some positives, and there's no reason not to use them. They're not harmful,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just not that powerful.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to diss them, but
No,
there's
I was just curious. Yeah, because I mean that's my take on things as well. But
okay.
I just wanted to see what your take was, because like I said, I use everything that obviously your body's gonna accept in and your skin recognizes. So I was just very curious on your take on that too.
Yeah, we're not plants, but we
Yeah.
we co-evolve with plants, and some of the molecules in the plants are the same molecules that we use. So it's eat your plants and eat
Yeah.
plenty of them.
Yeah.
Feed your skin that
Yeah.
way. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to use a powerful skincare product that's skin identical,
Yeah.
then use our products or something that's equivalent to our products. There's some other good products out there as well, but um, we really do have a unique set of products, a unique philosophy. It's really mostly skin identical ingredients.
Yeah. Very much. Very much. Like I said, anyone that has used Neogenesis, the feedback is always so positive, and people are just wowed. I get messages all the time from people that are like, oh my gosh, I started using recovery from Neogenesis and my skin has never looked better. So it is a testament to the science behind your products.
Yeah, and I would say if people want to try it, a lot of people have their favorite products with their favorite ingredients. And we're not saying don't use those, but if you want to, try our products alongside those products that you really love.
Yeah. Well, that's
See how.
your products fit in with other brands and other
Yeah,
products that people might
yeah,
use too. Your
yeah,
products fit in very well, so it's
yeah.
a bonus.
Yeah, there's other good products out there, and we can work synergistically with them.
Yeah, it's just
Just
amazing. Like I said, I was using a stem cell product way back, and it wasn't until I switched over to recovery that I was just like, wow, like it
yeah,
completely wowed me. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
yeah. Some of the other products will work; they just don't work as well. Some of the products, like I mentioned the bone marrow, those are products you really don't want to use.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other companies that will use, some of them use the mesenchymal stem cell we use, some of the companies will use the fibroblast. I'm not sure how they process them and if they do it correctly, but the cell types they use are good. And so, it's not
Yeah.
harmful because they're skin identical. But if you're going to a bone marrow based product where you're inducing a lot of inflammation, fibrosis, and what people don't realize is that when you look at the bone marrow is a recirculation site for cancer cells.
Mm.
And so we all have cancer cells that our immune system is constant. It's like the T cells attack the cancer cells and kill them off.
Right.
We all have cancer cells floating around. They go into the blood supply and they recirculate into the bone marrow. And then these cancer cells will fuse with bone marrow mesenchymal stem cells
Oh, wow.
and cause the bone marrow mesenchymal stem cells to have oncogenic potential.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't happen in the skin or a lot of other organs, but you have I've published several papers on this. You have a significant problem. It's why when people have bone marrow transplants for certain blood diseases, there's a lot of they're discovering, some significant number of people will develop cancer because the donor, it's hard to detect this, especially in the clinical setting. The donor will have had cancer in the bone marrow,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will be transmitted to the recipient and will
Oh,
grow.
right.
Yeah, so you want to be careful. There's companies out there using skin-derived mesenchymal stem cells and skin-derived fibroblasts, and if you don't like Neogenesis for some reason, those are the products that you would want to use.
Right. Which we all like Neogenesis, so that's not the issue.
Okay, I'll
Well,
give you options.
yeah,
I always
no, no. Neogenesis is literally amazing. So, I guess that's it for today. And I'm honestly so thankful that you got to join me today and, share all of this detail with us. I truly appreciate it. And I know all of, everyone watching, I'm going to post this later. So, everyone that can be on now can watch it later. And we all thank you. It's amazing to talk to somebody with, your amount of knowledge on this topic. I love it so much.
Likewise, Brianna, thank you so much for what you do
Thank you.
and your knowledge base, asking all the good questions and bringing this to your audience. It's really important we do this. So thank you for what you do.
Of course. And I would love to have you back again. We'll talk again for sure.
Anytime, I'd love to do it again.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Greg.
Thank you,
Okay.
Brianna. Pleasure.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.